Hello everyone, welcome to another video of IELTS Sutra. This is your host Amarjot Singh, an IDP certified IELTS trainer. If you are preparing for IELTS General Training, then this video is going to be a boon for you. Why I am saying so is because in this video we are going to deep dive into the writing task 1 for the IELTS General Training, and we are going to master the formal and informal letters in this video. Make sure that you watch till the end so that you don't miss any kind of essential information, and trust me, after watching this video you will not have to watch any other video for your IELTS letter writing. Let's get started. So first of all, let's understand the learning objectives of this lecture. So in this lecture, we are going to identify when to use formal and informal tone in the IELTS General Training Writing Task 1. As you know that in writing task 1 in case of general training, you have to write a letter, and letters are of two types generally. You have formal letters and informal letters. So we will deep dive into this concept that when to use the formal tone and when to use the informal tone. Then after that we will understand the key differences, the key language differences between both these styles of letters. Then we will look at some step-by-step writing techniques and some tips and tricks, some common mistakes which I think that you should be aware of before you start writing your essay. Sorry, start writing your letter. So let's get started. So first of all, let's understand the criteria and all the concepts related to IELTS General Training Task 1. As you know that you have 20 minutes to write this letter, and the word count should be 150 minimum. You have different types of letters. For example, you have letters of complaint, you have letters of request, you have letters of invitation where you invite someone for any occasion. Then you have letters of apology and job applications, etc. The most important aspect, or I would say that the most challenging part of letter writing, is to understand the tone of this letter. Like sometimes people are really confused that whether they should choose a formal tone or informal tone, and understanding this difference between formal tone and informal tone is really important, because if you are not getting the tone correct, then obviously you're going to lose your marks in case of task response. That is the first writing band descriptor on basis of which your writing task is evaluated. So if you choose the wrong tone, then obviously your whole response is going to get violated, and basically you will not be able to score as higher as you want in case of task response. Now let's understand how to decide the tone, how to decide that whether the tone of the letter should be formal or it should be informal. Well, I have a very easy way to pick that up, and I have just one tip for you. If you feel that you are writing the letter to someone whom you can consider your friend, then it's going to be an informal letter. Whereas, if you are writing this letter to somebody who you cannot consider as your friend, like for example your senior, or it can be your boss, it can be your colleague who is senior to you, then in that case you have to choose the formal tone. You have to be more respectful, you have to be more polite. So the formal tone you have to choose in that case. So for example, for unknown recipients, if there is somebody who you don't know, then obviously you will choose formal tone where the salutation will start from dear sir or dear madam. On the other hand, in case of your friends or family members with whom you have a very close acquaintance, then obviously you will use informal tone. If you're writing your letter to officials, managers, landlords, you will choose formal tone. On the other hand, for close acquaintances, like maybe your friends of friends, or somebody who you know, or somebody who you meet on daily basis, it's gonna be informal tone. In case of business contexts, for example any kind of job application, any kind of client meeting, you have to choose formal tone. For casual situations, for example, for inviting somebody over your birthday, or to invite somebody for a get together, you can choose informal tone. Similarly, for complaint letters, most of the complaint letters are formal, whereas personal invitations are informal. Job applications are formal. On the other side, application like advice seeking letters, when somebody is looking for your advice, we generally choose informal tone. Now let's go ahead. So here, uh, I have my top 3 tips if you want to differentiate your formal letter from your informal letter. Then you just need to focus on these 3 aspects of your writing. Okay, the first thing that you have to consider is that you have to master the usage of modal verbs. Modal verbs, you like can, could, may, might, shall, should, all of these are called modal verbs. And there are some verbs which are way more polite as compared to some other modal verbs. For example, if you are writing a formal letter, then you have to prioritize the usage of more polite modals like could, would, should, or might. When you are writing a formal letter, you will always choose to use these modal verbs instead of using can, will, or may, which are considered to be less polite, as compared to could, would, or should. So, for example, when writing your formal letters, you can say like, "I would be grateful if you could assist me." So, like, you're using would and could over here, or you can say, "Could you please investigate this matter? I would appreciate your prompt response," or "you might consider implementing new policies." Okay, so instead of saying that you can implement new policies, you are saying you might consider implementing new policies, which is way more politer as compared to saying that you can consider, right? On the other hand, when you are writing for an informal letter, then in that case you don't have to be you know a lot polite, I would say. You can be more direct, so you can use like direct models such as can, will, or may. For example, can you please help me out with this, or you will love the new place, or I can't wait to see you, or you can say, will you be free next weekend? So directly you can say, instead of being more polite, instead of being more respectful, you can use more direct language. So this is the first key difference, okay, between the usage of modal verbs here. The key insight regarding this aspect is that polite models create professional distance in formal letters, while direct models sound natural and friendly. So the thing is, then when you are writing a formal letter, then you have to, keep the distance. You cannot be very friendly with the person whom you are writing the letter to. Whereas, on the other hand, if you're talking about your friend, if you're writing an informal letter, then obviously you can be more friendly, you can be more, like direct. So, this is the first major difference between the usage of language in case of formal and informal letters. Then tip number 2 after the usage of modal verbs would be contractions. This is the game changer actually. See, contractions, for example, instead of saying I cannot, you say I can't. Instead of saying that I do not, you can say I don't. So whenever you use a contraction, make sure that you only use contractions in case of informal letters, because in formal letters contractions are always avoided. You cannot use don't, can't, won't, I'm, your, it's, haven't. You cannot use these contractions. Instead of that, write the complete form. For example, instead of saying can't, say cannot. Instead of saying won't, you say will not. Similarly, I am, you are, it is, have not. For example, I cannot attend the meeting. Don't say I can't attend. This is not acceptable. On the other hand, in case of informal letters, you can use contractions more naturally. For example, you can say I'm, your, can't, won't, haven't, let's. For example, I can't believe you are finally visiting. Okay. the rule is that write exactly how you speak to a close friend. In the case of informal letters, you should uh, try to write the language in the similar manner as you would speak to somebody in the real life, right? So, for example, whenever we are talking to a close friend, so we generally say that I don't think so, I don't like it, I can't do that, right? We never say I cannot do that. We always say I can't do that. Basically, what you are doing over here is that you are making your writing more natural by adding the contractions over here. But it is only acceptable in case of informal letters, where you are using more of the informal language. The key insight here is that contractions immediately signal informality. Okay, contractions are like a part and parcel of informal language. They are the fastest way to identify the letter type. If you are using contractions in a letter, then obviously the examiner will immediately, will get to know that it's an informal letter. Now, tip number 3 is that use more and more phrasal verbs and idiomatic language. For example, in case of formal letters, you use single word verbs. For example, you never use phrasal verbs like figure out, deal with, put up with, hang out, catch up. You never say this, right? For example, in case of a formal letter, if you want to say somebody that you want to meet him, or you want to meet her, then you would say that uh, I would be delighted if I get a chance to meet you on this auspicious occasion. Okay. Whereas in case of an informal letter, you would say that, you know, uh, I'm really excited to catch up with you on this occasion. There is a difference. So basically, in case of formal letters, you always avoid using phrasal verbs, and you always avoid using idiomatic language. You never use idioms. For example, cup of tea, piece of cake. Okay, these kind of idioms you never use. Whereas in case of informal letters, you use more of the phrasal verbs and more of the idiomatic language. For example, in case of formal letters, you would say, "Please resolve this issue." Instead of saying figure this out, you will say, "Please resolve." Resolve is much more formal as compared to figure out. Then, in this case, on the other hand, you will say, you will use casual expressions as well, and you will use idioms as well. For example, "I'm over the moon." Okay, let's catch up over coffee. Or you will use casual expressions like "drop me a line when you're free," which is basically means that write a letter or inform me when you are free. So you must come over and hang out. These kind of phrasal verbs and idioms, they are an essential part of informal letters, but make sure that you are not using them in formal letters, because if you do so, then you are going to lose your marks in task response. The key insight about this aspect is that formal letters use precise single word verbs. I am repeating again. Formal letters use precise and single word verbs, whereas in case of informal letters, you use more natural phrasal verbs, and you use idiomatic language also, which you use in everyday conversations during a speaking. Let's have a quick memory device. I have a quick tip for you which will help you out to differentiate between formal and informal tone. So formal, formal, means formal, official, respectful, model, rich, means you have to use more and more polite models, like could, would, might, etc. Avoid contractions, A for avoid contractions, L for limited phrasal verbs. Friends, on the other hand, is for friendly, relaxed, informal, expressive, natural contractions, and direct language. You can quickly remember this tip for differentiating between formal and informal tone in your exam. Now, let's try to write a letter. Okay, so here is, I have a question over here, you can see. So in this question we have the writing scenario is that you have recently moved to a new city for work. Write a letter to inform someone about your relocation and invite them to visit you. You have to cover these questions in your letter. The first is explain the reason for your move or situation. Second is describe your new location or arrangements. Third one is extend invitation or make request. So now, in this scenario, we can write this letter in two different ways. Uh, if we are writing this letter in a formal way, then obviously we will be writing this to a colleague or a person who is senior to us. Whereas in case of an informal letter, if you are inviting somebody, then it would be your friend or a person with whom you have a very close relation. So let's try to compare the formal and informal way of writing for this particular topic. The first difference, the first vivid difference that you can see over here is obviously in the salutation over here. So in case of formal letter, you will write like dear Mr. Sharma or dear Mr. Patel or whatever you want to write. Whereas in case of informal letter, it will be more direct. Okay, instead of writing Mr. Mrs., you will say dear Rahul. You will just directly use the first name of the person. For example, if my friend's name is Navdeep, so I will say dear Navdeep. Then let's understand the answer to this particular question. Explain the reason for your move or situation. So this is the first paragraph of the letter. In case of formal letter, here look closely how I'm doing this. We have written, I hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing you to inform you that I have recently relocated to Bangalore due to a professional transfer within my organization. The move was necessary as my company has opened a new regional office here and I was assigned to lead the project. So basically the first question was that we have to explain the reason for the movement, that why did we move. So we have explained over here. So now look closely over here. In case of formal letter, as I said, we are using the complete forms, like we are not using contractions. I have completely written that I have. Okay. Then in case of formal letter, we are using more and more precise formal language. For example, I hope this finds you well. This is a formal way of greeting someone. Then you are using more and more formal language instead of using contractions, as well as instead of using phrasal verbs. On the other hand, if you write the same thing in case of informal letter, in an informal way, you would say, how you happy? Instead of I hope this letter finds you well, you can start like how you happy? Okay. So this is a very casual way of asking somebody how they feel. It feels like ages since we last met. Just thought of dropping a line to you to fill you in on something exciting. So see, here we are using phrasal verbs like expressions like dropping a line, which means to inform somebody, to to write letters to somebody and fill you in on something. Instead of saying to let you know, to inform you, you are using fill you in on something. Fill you in on is basically an expression which is used in a casual way to say that I want to inform you about something. So instead of saying that I want to inform you about something, you can say I want to fill you in on something. Hey, look closely. Instead of I used I've just moved to Bangalore. My company transferred me here for a new project and I couldn't say no to this opportunity. So see, you can easily notice the clear difference between the formal way of writing and informal way of writing. In case of informal way of writing, we are using more casual language, more informal language, and also we are making a lot of use of phrasal verbs and contractions. Whereas in case of formal letter, we are not doing this, right? We are uh, being more precise, we are being more choosy with the word choice, right? And we are also not using contractions. So there is a clear difference between these two. Then next question was that, and the next part that we needed to cover was describe your new location or arrangements. So for that, in case of formal way, in the formal way, we will say that my new residency is situated in the Whitefield area, which is, here we are introducing a relative clause using which is conveniently close to my workplace. It is a spacious two-bedroom apartment in a well-maintained complex equipped with all modern amenities. The neighborhood is quiet and secure, making it suitable for hosting guests. So here you can see that we are using more and more formal language, for example, well maintained, equipped. We are using relative clause here, using more precise vocabulary such as spacious. Okay, we are not trying to be more friendly, we are trying to be very polite, as well as we are trying to be very respectful. Whereas in case of informal letter, you can say the new place is pretty cool. Okay, pretty cool. So pretty and quiet, they are most commonly used in informal way of writing. So for example, pretty cool, pretty dark, pretty dull. Okay, quite happy, quite bad, quite good, etc., etc. So that the new place is pretty cool. It's a two-bedroom flat in Whitefield. The best part is that it's close to my office, and building has everything: a gym, a small park, and even a clubhouse. I've already set up most of the furniture, so it feels like home now. So you can see that here we are using phrasal verbs like set up, pretty cool, and we are using the listing here, right? And we are using contractions here. Basically, we are trying to be more friendly. We are, crossing the line of formality. We are trying to be more close to the person, right? Then in the third part, as you can see, extend invitation or make the request. So if in this part, in case of formal, I would say that I would be delighted if you could plan a visit at your convenience. So look closely. Here we are using more polite models like would, could, right? And it would be my pleasure to accommodate you during your stay and show you around the city. Please let me know if you are available in the coming months so that I can make the suitable arrangements. So here you are trying to be very, very, a lot more respectful, polite, using more and more precise vocabulary, formal wording, using polite models like would, could, please let me know, kindly do this, you know. But in case of informal, you can be more direct. You don't have to be, you know, a lot respectful. You can say, you must come over sometime. So, for example, instead of saying that, you should visit, we are saying you should come over sometime soon. It would be great to catch up instead of saying to meet. Instead of using single word vocabulary, we are using phrasal verbs like catch up, hang out in the city, and maybe even take a weekend trip nearby. Just let me know when you are free, and I'll make all the arrangements. Ending with, in case of formal, you say yours sincerely or yours faithfully, but in case of informal, I can say your pal, which is another way to say your friend. In case of formal letters, you will write your complete name, Amarjot Singh, just my name. But in case of informal letters, you can say just Amar. Okay, your pal Amar, your friend Amar. That's all. So I hope that you were able to see the clear difference between the way we are writing formal and informal letters, and those top three tips that we discussed before. We are also implementing those, right? So let's have a quick look again on the key language differences here. So in case of formal language, we are using more and more polite modal verbs such as would, could, might, should, and ought to. Whereas in case of informal language, we are using more direct modal verbs like can, will, or may. The opening phrases are more politer and more respectful in case of formal language. For example, I am writing to inform you. Where in case of informal language, you are trying to be more casual, like hi there, or hope you are well. In case of vocabulary choice, you choose more and more formal wording, single word vocabulary like comments, rectified, inconvenience, substantial. Whereas in case of informal language, you use more of the informal words like start, fix, problem, huge. Tone should be professional, distance and respectful. You should maintain the professional distance in case of formal letters. Don't try to be more friendly. Whereas in case of informal letters, you have to be more friendly, personal, and conversational. Contractions are not allowed in case of formal letters, but they are a natural part of informal letters. Phrasal verbs are, there in case of formal letters there is minimal usage of this, whereas in case of informal letters, phrasal verbs are more common like figure out, deal with, put up, etc. Idioms are avoided completely, but in case of informal letters they are welcomed. For example, driving me crazy, uh, once in a blue moon, over the moon. over the top, etc. Then sentence structure is more complex and formal. In this case, it's sample and natural. Basically, you try to write as you try to speak, okay, in the same way you speak. In case of informal, closing statement is more respectful. I look forward to see your response. In this case, in the informal, it's more casual. Signing off is like yours sincerely, your faithfully, or in this case, you can just say your pal, love, cheers, or best wishes, or take care. Now, here are some expressions which I think that you can use for different scenarios. For example, in case of formal letters, you can use these expressions for problem description, like I'm experiencing considerable inconvenience due to this matter has resulted in significant disruption to this situation has adversely affected my dash. So basically, I'll do one thing, that I will provide this PDF in the bio of this video, and you will be able to access this PDF, right? And you will be able to understand, and you will be able to look into all these different expressions, right? So it's a kind of your homework. Okay, so the common mistakes to avoid, obviously, I would try to emphasize again on this is, in case of formal letters, don't use contractions, avoid using contractions, don't overuse the casual language, don't use slang and idioms, don't use inappropriate sign offs like love and cheers, don't be too direct when you are demanding something. Okay, for example, you must fix this. Don't, you cannot be authoritative in case of formal letters, whereas in case of informal letters, you can just say, you have to be overly formal, you have to avoid overly formal language, you have to be more casual, you have to avoid using more and more complex sentence structures, you have to be more simple. Okay, no personal touch or warmth, inappropriate sign offs should not be there. You don't have to be too respectful. Okay, and being too formal with the close friends is not a good way to write informal letters as well. Now, for practice, I would recommend you to, for formal letters, if you want to practice, then you need to make sure that you know and understand the usage of would, could, should, and these kind of more polite like model verbs. Then you need to understand the professional phrases and expressions. You need to study business letter formats, and I would suggest you to go through some business letters if you have. Focus on respectful and distant tone. Try to make a professional distance. Avoid all contractions as using more casual language. In case of informal letters, try to practice natural and conversational English, the way you speak. Use phrasal verbs and idioms appropriately. Include personal touches and emotions. Practice friendly openings and closings, right? For example, your pal, love, take care, best wishes, etc. Make it sound genuine communication with a friend. Okay, don't try to be too respectful. Everybody knows that you don't try, you are not too respectful with your friends, so you have to be more casual. So final tips are, always identify your audience first. Okay, who you are writing the letter to, then it will help you understanding the tone. Plan your letter structure. Time management is very important. 5 minutes should go to the planning part. 12 minutes should be going to the writing part, and 3 minutes for your checking. Word count should be between 160 to 180. Although the minimum word count is 150, but I would suggest that you should try to write 160 at least. Consistency is key. Okay, you have to maintain the same tone throughout the letter. It should not be like that. Okay, in the first part you are writing formal, and in the second part you are writing informal language. It should not be the case. Practice both the styles regularly. Okay, you can find the resources on our platform. If you need more help regarding your IELTS preparation, then you can do consider connecting with us. You can visit our website, which is www.ieltsutra.com. You can connect with us on the given mobile phone number, or email us on the given email contact. Also, you can visit and follow us on Instagram for more such content. There is a free WhatsApp community group that we have where we conduct free masterclass every weekend. Also, we provide free materials. The link is in the bio. You will find the link to the WhatsApp community group in the bio. You can join that community group and you can get access to free materials and free masterclasses. Remember one thing, that consistency is the key. If you want to achieve success in your IELTS examination, then I would suggest that you should focus on practicing as much as you can on daily basis. Try to be consistent, keep hustling, keep learning. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and comment on this video, and also share this video with others, with your friends, with your family members, whoever are preparing for IELTS. If you find this content to be useful, then do subscribe our channel, okay, for more such content. Your support really means to us. And it will encourage us to be more consistent and to be more encouraged to bring these kind of content for you. Thank you very much. See you in the next video. Till then, keep hustling, keep learning. Thank you.